All right. So we don't plan on letting up at this point. This is going to be a really fun conversation. For those of you guys that I don't know, my name is Crystal Duncan. I'm Tinuiti's EVP of Brand Engagement. And I'm here with my good friend, Brittany Lee Ellis, Senior Director. Yeah, I love that. Look, you got some fans. I love that. I love that. Well, Brittany is the Director of Growth Marketing at Etsy. So before I jump into things, Blee, you want to tell everyone about you?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany, more formally known as Blee. So Crystal's already said it, but that's what you can refer to me as. As Crystal mentioned, I'm the Senior Director of Growth Marketing at Etsy, where I oversee paid social, display, affiliate, and our performance influencer team. I've been with Etsy for 8.5 years now, which is crazy. I've been working with Tinuiti for majority of those. So really excited to be here with you all and to sit here and chat with Crystal.
Yeah, 8.5 years. I can only imagine how much has changed since you've been there.
I've grown up, I think.
So in this session, we're here to talk about how AI is a tool for growth, not necessarily a replacement for creativity. And I think that's a really important fact for us to unpack. We just had a really great session with Simon talking about AI from a different perspective, but we really want to discuss the creativity piece here. I'm sure that's top of mind for a lot of folks in this room. So to give you guys a little bit of kind of a peek behind the curtain, when we started thinking through this session, Blee and I wanted to define, like, what do we mean by creative AI? There's lots of different interpretations there. So where else would we start but the AI platforms themselves? So we went to the top, some of the popular AI tools, and asked them to define creative AI in a singular visual image. It's kind of interesting what they all came up with. You guys can see some similarities there, right? We see things like robots, we see the visual representation of the act of thinking, we see some bold, bright colors. So in the audience, anyone have a favorite, anything you're drawn to? Shout it out, we're all friends here. Yeah, I see some ChatGPT, I see some Gemini, good choice, guys. Yes? What about you?
I'm definitely team ChatGPT. I don't know, he's cute. I feel like he feels more human, and that's what we're talking about here, right? Kind of the convergence of human and robot. So I don't know, I love him.
Yeah, I think that's great. The cool thing is there's not a wrong answer here, right? These are all different kind of representations. But to bring this back to kind of the human side here, what we also did was we polled some folks at Tinuiti, asking them the way that either AI can or is helping with creative efforts. Honestly, we probably could have had 5 slides of this. This is just one small smattering that we pulled out. And, you know, kind of looking at themes and thinking about themes, the simplest way to think about it is AI is this collaborator. It supercharges our creativity. It handles some tasks that maybe our team doesn't need to do to free up their brain space to be the creatives that they really can be. So, you know, as our session states, AI acts as a co-creator. It's not a replacement right now, especially in the creative world. We were talking this morning, I told Blee I saw a quote recently that said, true innovation isn't about latching on to every trend, but figuring out ways to solve problems in new ways. And I think that this is a really good example of that. The other piece that we were kind of talking about was the fact that this AI plus creative allows folks that maybe who aren't true creatives to have a seat at the table and to contribute to the creative conversation. So Blee, Etsy's been at the forefront of blending technology with artisanal craftsmanship. How do you guys define creative and AI in your world?
Yeah, I think the role of creative AI, at least today at Etsy, is enabling us to drive scale and iteration to ultimately create more efficiency and performance against our already amazing base of human UGC content that is so organic to our platform. You know, at Etsy, as a marketplace, we're lucky enough to have over 5 million global sellers who are not only making and designing and handpicking special items, but they're creating the content for those items. But in a way that marketing isn't necessarily their biggest top of mind priority or skill set. So as marketers at Etsy, it's our job to take that content and really make sure that it resonates with buyers in the best way to support them.
Sure.
So that's exactly what we try to do and are able to scale it with AI.
I love that. I think that's so well said. And I think the interesting piece for you guys is your tagline, your ethos of keeping commerce human. But I think that this could present a challenge, right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago as we kicked this off. How have you guys been navigating that landscape?
Yeah, it's funny because people do think that. They think it's at odds with our mission, but really we see it as a real complement and a way to help us keep commerce more human. And Etsy is really at the forefront of that. You know, we've been using machine learning as early as the 2010s.
Oh, wow.
So every business decision we make, AI or otherwise, really starts with our customers, our buyers, our sellers, our employees, and even more recently, creators too. So we're always thinking about ways to blend kind of the innovation with our business. And it really is quite easy for us to make those decisions of what is and what isn't a right fit for us because of how we think about our business.
Yeah, especially if you've been doing it for as long as that.
Yeah.
It's got to be second nature.
Yeah,
at this point.
exactly.
I love that. So on that note, you know, you guys have been doing this for a while. It's starting to become how you're operating your business. But how are you driving balance of innovation plus brand purpose? Give us a little bit of like the tactical piece there.
Yeah, again, as we think of AI and innovation as a whole, it's really a way to amplify the human and drive our mission forward. So from a brand perspective, we focus on this primarily to better the experience and connection of our customers through our two-sided marketplace. We do this not only through marketing, but from our product experience of really finding a way to blend our sellers' products in a way that is relevant and discoverable for buyers. We support our sellers with their experience and how they use our platform. And then also we use this as a way to protect our brand from fraud and bad actors too, which is becoming more and more prevalent in today's day and age.
Sure. Oh, guys, our clicker's dying again. There we go. So I think the other piece too is we kind of kicked off this session talking about the fact that AI allows us to take some of the laborious tasks off of our people. We heard in the keynote, we spend 80% of our time at work. Well, let's make people happy with the work that they're doing, right? If we can take some of those laborious tasks off of their plate, they can move forward and be, you know, the awesome folks that they are. So in the spirit of putting humans at the center, what does the utilization of AI tools and platforms allow your teams to do now that they don't have to do those tasks?
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot from like a brand perspective. How can we make our brand show up better? How can we make our marketing better? But there's also the piece of how can we make our admin or our employees better too. And really, there's always more to do as humans. And it's continuously showing that the value of humans in marketing isn't going away as we move more towards an AI-centric world. So some of the AI tools that we've been leveraging, it's directly tied to an increased volume of testing through creative concepts, more campaigns to find more audiences, and overall expanding our platforms and tactics, essentially allowing us to be more tailored with our strategy and overall really make our marketing more human-centric than ever. There's still so much more of an opportunity to advance here, and how we creatively use AI is a big part of our forward thinking. So, you know, we've talked a lot about how we're using it for creative today. We're now taking it to a place where it's like, okay, we have the content. How do we now use that AI to look at that content and connect it directly back to product feeds, to our landing experiences, and really making that end-to-end connection seamless through the power of AI.
I love that. And we've got a couple examples obviously here up on the screen of some of the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we've already, you know, started using kind of the platform level tools that we have, Pinterest plus Creative plus, Meta video product listing ads. We also are thinking about it, I'm looking at my friend Kylie in the audience, of how we influence our influencers, our creators, to leverage AI more too. We found that, you know, just simply using green screens is part of the biggest drivers of performance for us. So how are we continuously leveraging what we have, being at the forefront of what's available, but then thinking ahead too, knowing that we are a technology company, of how we can continuously improve and be at the forefront ourselves.
I love that. The green screens are a great idea too, because then the creators can talk about multiple products in your marketplace.
Yeah.
It's not just a, you know, one size fits
And
all.
it really captures attention too. Like I'm always just like kind of, what are you finding, you know?
Well, it's funny actually, when we pulled this screenshot, we were working with our marketing team, and one of our marketing leads said, I literally just bookmarked that because it's a Mother's Day post and Mother's Day was coming up. So it was like so funny how relevant all of that was, and it obviously caught attention just randomly out there.
And it's a really nice way to be able, again, to like tie that end-to-end connection. Like seeing a creator actually browse our site, you know, sometimes it can be overwhelming with how many products we have, but to see them in real life navigate their ways through our site and find those products is a nice way to tie it back to the consumer to do so themselves.
I love that. That's super smart. So Blee, I think you'll agree with me in this, and probably everyone in the audience, but there's a lot of pressure on us as marketers to try and incorporate AI at every turn, everything that we're doing. We were saying this morning, we signed on and look at your inbox, like most of the subject lines say something about AI in there. But finding the right solution is going to be different for every brand. So you've done a great job talking about how you guys are incorporating it. It's probably going to be different for the other, folks in the audience. But at Tinuiti, we've established a pretty straightforward way to think about our tools and our partners to avoid that like shiny object syndrome, right? You're chasing every single thing and therefore becoming less efficient. So when we're looking at tools and partners, we're asking ourselves two things. Will they make us more efficient? And will they make our work better? So what do you think? Do you agree with this? Do you think that this is off? Do you guys have additional lenses that you look through when you're looking at all of this?
Yeah, no, agree completely. I think it can be overwhelming and a little bit intimidating when you think of like all the different options there are and just like how it could potentially like replace some things that you're doing. But we're trying to position ourselves and our teams to think about it as an advantage, right? So a saying that we've kind of been picking up internally is, AI will never replace marketers, but marketers who are savvy with AI are going to have an advantage, right? So it's a priority for us to make that time to really understand AI, to be proactive, to be really thoughtful about what we embrace, to make us better as marketers and really set us up for the future.
Yeah, it's like AI won't take the job, but someone that's using AI might,
Yeah,
right?
no,
So
I think of my
way.
parents and like how much help they still need with phones, and I'm like, I'll never be that. I have to adopt this.
Nope, that's totally fair. Well, this was an amazing conversation. I hope that you guys got some valuable nuggets out of this. I asked Blue before we got on stage. She will be around the rest of this afternoon if you guys have more questions on how Etsy is leveraging AI. I can't thank you enough for being here. So thank you for spending some time with us. And thank you guys for joining this session. Enjoy lunch and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.